following is intended only for mature audiences.
Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann.
This is Steiny.
Sometimes, like when I'm going to shovel cat shit or rabbit cage scoopings, I pull out a Target bag. It has to be a Target bag, not a Walmart bag because of the thickness of the plastic.
Sometimes there's holes in the bottom of them, too.
The Walmart ones suck my ass.
Yeah.
So anyways, I go to start scooping the shit in, but before I do, there's a receipt inside. I just leave the receipts in the bags.
Yeah.
If it's nothing that I need. And what's fun is I have like a bag full of bags, and I'll pull it out, and I'll look, and I'll be like, oh, well, here's what I bought on this date. When is this from?
Yeah, a little time travel.
Yeah. So I had this idea for a TV show. It's kind of like the butterfly effect. He would like read diary notes or journal loggings.
Okay.
Did you ever see that movie?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, with Ashton Kutcher and, I don't know, Amy Smart or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And
good.
also Ethan Suplee, who played his roommate Thumper.
Oh, yeah. That's right. The guy who would have, like, missing arms and...
Yeah, all kinds of weird
shit happened to him.
So he could, like, go back in time using the memories.
Of somebody else's journal?
So in my show, or this idea for this show, right, you've got a guy who finds out he can time travel by accident. Accident. It starts off present day, and you know how, like, when the calendar flips to a new year, for the first few weeks, you keep accidentally writing, like, 22 when it's 23, or we'll write 23 when it's 24.
Yeah.
There's been times when I've been sitting at the desk when I worked at the jail. It's like 2014, and I wrote like 08. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened to my brain?
Not even close.
I don't even do drugs. So the premise is that he writes down the wrong date. And as soon as he does it, he's teleported back in his own body on the date that he accidentally wrote.
Okay.
And it takes him a while to figure out what the fuck happened.
Right. Remembering all this stuff or reliving it, so to say.
And he's like, I was just sitting there writing a check and I wrote a date and then I woke up and it's the previous year. What the fuck? So it's not quite like Quantum Leap because...
That's what I was thinking.
He would jump into other people's lives.
Yep.
This guy's staying in his own life.
Okay. For how long and what can he do? What's the whole point?
Until he rewrites the appropriate date.
Okay.
And he has to like sit there and be in a very similar situation. So it requires him to get to places where he might not have yet have been able to be to write or type the date again to go back to where he was at.
So he can then go back to like his current day. What if he were to go to the future him?
But he wouldn't
20,
even know
30.
what the hell was going on because you get there and then...
So does he always have to be at the table writing a check?
No.
Okay.
No, he could be like me, sitting at a desk at a jail, writing the date that somebody got out on a manila envelope where we're stuffing their file paperwork into. That's basically the impetus of where this came from. Is I wrote the wrong date on an envelope. I'm like, son of a bitch, I did it again. I'm like, man, it's a good thing that like accidentally doing that doesn't make you travel back into holy shit.
Right.
Right? But here's the thing is, in the first few episodes, he's stuck in the previous date. And he has to work out how he got there. It was accidental. So then he's like, well, fuck. It was an accident. I didn't do it on purpose, and it just fucking happened. And then he tries to write the date again, but it doesn't take. So then he takes some time to figure out, I have to be in the exact same place, doing the exact same thing. Now, that luckily that first time, he has access to the same setup, the same, perfect storm of factors. Okay. So he goes back. So the next time he does it, again, by accident, he's like, okay, I remember this shit. I know how to do this. Well, here's the thing. Uh-oh, not everything's the same because I don't have access to this, like wherever I was then, because I hadn't met these people yet.
Mm-hmm. Those memories, those...
Well, say it's like a job. Like, I didn't work there yet.
Right.
Or it's like being at a party for some people that you just made friends with.
Sure.
That's the funny thing is like he goes back by accident. He then is worried he can only get back by accident. Then he tries it to write the right date. It doesn't take. Then he figures out what if it has to only be the same circumstances. And he does it and he goes back. He's like, oh my God. That now that he's cognizant of the fact, he can use it to his own desire.
Bet on sports.
But you have to be careful because if you accidentally do it again, well, then you have to create all these circumstances. And if you don't have all the factors or availability of all the places you need to be to do it again. See, it's this is cool. I can do this. I don't know why I can do this. Mm-hmm. But if I do it, there's a lot of risk involved because what if I can't get back? Now, maybe he doesn't want to go back. Maybe he's righting wrongs and reliving things. But maybe one of the things he has to relive is very traumatic.
Well, I was just going to say, death of a family member, friend.
Yeah, and it gets like a Groundhog Day effect.
Right, that's what I was going with it, or where I was starting to think initially.
And what you're saying about betting on sports games, obviously, yes, Marty McFly with the fucking sports almanac, and then Biff gets a hold of it, and then Back to the Future, too.
Absolutely.
Yay! Here's another wrinkle. Can other people do this? And if other people can do this, are they better at it than him? And are they using it for their own benefit, like a Jeff Bezos or a Bill Gates?
Oh, right.
You know, people that have all this status, and then it's like, fuck, are there other people? And then you realize other people can do this. Well, shit. Now you need to find out who the other people are.
And then it becomes like Highlander. You got to take their head.
You literally stole the words out of my mouth, except for the head thing.
Oh, no.
There's like
I'm
a Highlander
sorry.
factor.
Yeah.
Like, you have to figure out who they are and become allies. Like, you're dependent upon, like, the universe still being on its axis and everything being fine with no fucking, rips in the fabric of time or alternate timelines that fuck up your life are all dependent upon finding out who else can do this. It's very rare. We'll say 5 people.
Okay.
And the guy finds out somebody else who can do it, and that person is like, there were only 4 of us. You're number 5. And here's the problem. 3 of us get along, and 1 of us we've had to keep in check. So now it's like, oh, now I have these people. I have to join their cause to help them keep the one person that wants to use it for evil or only for self-gain from doing that because it might fuck up all of eternity and everybody's timelines and undo all of existence.
And I have a little mind F loop for you there.
They're crooked.
They are. They're like
see?
Superman 2 or whatever it is. Yeah,
He's like, I'm going to help these guys. But guess what? The one guy that's using it for air quotes bad, he's actually the only good one. And
Right.
they're fucking using their muscle. Yeah,
Right.
It's like a lot of different shows, but it's also, is this an intriguing concept?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's been kind of done in some ways, but not quite the way that you're talking about. Because the whole time travel thing's been done a bunch, right? You're talking about Quantum Leap. You're talking about...
Back to the Future.
Have you ever seen a show on Netflix called Russian Doll?
No.
It was only a couple seasons. The first season was really good. The second season was really bad. But it was very similar to the premise. This woman, she keeps waking up at this party. Groundhog Day. All the time. Over and over. Same type of thing. And she dies in mysterious ways. And every time she dies, she wakes up back at the party. And it's almost like she can't avoid dying. Like, she'll try to leave the party and go down the steps. She falls, breaks her neck, wakes up at the party. Same type of thing. She comes across somebody else who can do this.
Hang on. Before you get any further, is there ever any of these scenarios in an episode where she gets fucked to death?
I'd have to go back and rewatch it. It was a few years back. I don't think so, but it was pretty inventive. There was like a whole segue sequence where she's finding inventive ways to like not kill herself, and then she, of course, kills herself.
Yeah, like predetermination.
Yeah, exactly.
So she finds another person.
And he has the ability to do it too. And they kind of find that they are connected. Basically what happened is there was a situation where they were in a bodega together, and somehow there was some event that they both got stuck in this time loop, and they were connected to each other because of this event in the bodega. I think somebody came in and shot the other guy, like the other person, and there was some sequence around it. It was a good show. I just remember that. But it was very similar as far as people connected. For some reason, only they can do it. type of thing.
Was she in the bodega buying Plan B?
No, it was that Natasha. What was her name?
There's the crazy redhead from American Pie that everybody wanted to fuck back then, but then they found out what a real life schizo she is, and they're like, but then she did Russian Doll, and they're like, I think I want to fuck her again.
Something like that, sure.
Huh.
Natasha Leone.
Not buying Plan B. Because that, for me, makes it funny if she's in there buying Plan B.
I think she was drunk or drinking and was going in there for like something to eat or something like that.
Okay, so the bodega, was it owned by Middle Eastern people? Or Koreans? It's one or the other.
I think you're kind of in between, actually. They might have been Hindu or Indian, but Eastern, I guess you could say. Asian. Okay. I guess Asian involves a lot of different...
Was the other guy white?
No. Well, kind of. He was white, but looked like he might have some Eastern, either Middle Eastern or Indian descent in him.
Okay, was the shooter black?
I'm having a tough time with many of these details.
I'm just trying to see how many fucking racially intolerant stereotypes are involved in this show without having to watch it.
It was supposed to be inclusive. You had a main character was a woman. The other guy was of some, ethnic descent. It was inclusive. It wasn't meant to be stereotypical. But yeah, I don't remember if the shooter, it was like family related or something to do with the owner, if it was a robbery or if it was something else. I don't remember the details. Sorry. But you could watch it and do your own research.
I'm not going to do that.
And borrow creative liberties.
I don't want to do that. That's why when I wanted to write a show based upon my time as a CO, I refused to ever watch a single episode of Orange is the New Black.
What about Oz?
Oz fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Oz is ridiculous. And then they had that
way over the top.
At the end, they started going all sci-fi. Like, here's a pill that ages you. Oh, but then here's a pill that de-ages you. And I never got that far in the show, but I was like, every episode someone's either being raped or killed. And there's specific quotes from that show I remember where one guy's like, what's it going to be, princess? Kick or kiss? Doesn't matter. Either way, he's going to end up with the same thing, my dick and your ass.
Oh, that's one to remember.
That's very quippy. And another one where a guy's like, blood on my knife or shit on my dick. I'm sorry, what? That's all you are to me. And I'm like...
That was the 90s. Too.
Shit on your dick. Well,
yeah.
I guess that doesn't really lead you to many options for how that's going to end. It's very specific. You're either fucking his ass or he's defecating on your genitals at your request. But either way, there is some scat and your peignoir is coated in it. And it doesn't sound like it's a good time or completely consensual.
Not at all.
No.
That's amazing how long that show was. 25 years ago.
Yeah. Also, Prison Break I liked, but it could have ended after season 2.
Absolutely. I thought that was a really good show, but then it just, I stopped watching after the second season. I couldn't even get into it. Well,
just so you know, they basically are like, season 3, hey, we're in Panama. We made it. Oh, wait, we're in prison in Panama. Now we got to do it all over again. And then season 4, they somehow all were brought together, the remaining living members of the escapees. And then they became this crack team of mystery solvers. Yeah, it's amazing that these people from all these dysfunctional walks of life all had fucking Bruce Wayne levels of deduction, and they'd get in a room and they'd solve what would normally be months to years of mystery in a neatly little wound up 45-minute episode. And I was just like, you guys can suck all of my ass. All of it. The cheeks, the whole, and every single hair individually. Floss with those fucking things. This is fucking retarded.
What do they get to write that? My gosh.
People that like money but also don't want to be out of a job.
Oh, that is terrible.
Yeah.
How would you just completely rewrite the entire premise of the show?
Yeah, and then they did a spin-off, like a movie or miniseries based upon the doctor chick.
Oh, yeah.
Sarah Tancredi.
Yeah.
She gets locked up and then Michael has to bust her out. But it's like, I thought he was dead. Oh, right. But he's not dead.
Oh, so we're going soap opera on the bit.
It's fucking so convoluted that it literally sucked the enjoyment out of the first 2 seasons for me. And it's like, I liked that show so much that I went as Michael Schofield for Halloween one year. I literally wore basically prison blues and handcuffed myself. Where are they?
They're up there, right on the Mac.
There's the handcuffs.
Yeah.
And somewhere in this room, I forget where, is the toothbrush shank I made on the clock at Menards. I took a toothbrush, I cut it off at an angle, and then I used a file to make a shiv. And I went around I went around Joey Black's Halloween party that day, and people were looking at me like, why are you handcuffed? I'm like, don't worry, I'm going to break out of this jail. And they're like, well, what's going on? I'm like, I'm fucking Michael Schofield from Jailbreak. Fuck you. Here's my toothbrush shake. Shake, 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 shake.
And they were like, that was a few years back.
No, because this happened, well, it was like the fucking second season of the show. That's how long ago that shit was.
What year did that come out? Because I watched those first couple seasons.
Well, now I have to go on the internet right now when we're talking and find out.
Well, I was trying to remember. I thought that was a year or two before my son was born.
My son!
America Drama Series.
2005, yeah. So, yeah, it was the year before was born and then that year.
Yeah, it was also the year before I came over to the store where I met you and Rick James.
Yeah,
and
that was
everybody.
It. Yep.
And also, the character of Brad Billick kind of influenced how I could be as a CO. Like being tough as nails, but not being like crooked as shit.
Right.
Just for clarity's sake. So the whole reason that I just spent the last 16 minutes telling you all of that is the door that I move to close off the room. There's a pile of receipts there. Do you want to know why?
You're trying to go back in time.
I fantasize about going back to any of those dates before I fucked up things in my life and go back like, I'll have the knowledge and I can do better. I don't need to come back.
Yeah.
But then I was like, what if I go there and then something bad else happens? Like in your Russian doll show.
Exactly.
Like, what if I go to the pharmacy and they're out of plan B?
And they start unraveling the fabric of reality because of it.
And then a guy who's of questionable or ambiguous ethnicity gets murdered by what I'm only assuming is a black gang member because this takes place in New York.
Fair enough.
Something like that.
Stereotypes.
Yeah.
For sure.
But Hank Azaria can't voice Apu in this one because he's not Indian.
Well, you can't even have an Apu anymore, so it's just
the problem with
sad.
Apu.
Yeah.
Okay, so just one aspect of this. Like, we did an episode on regret a while ago.
Sure.
It's like we all have things we regret we would go back and do differently.
Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, if you're in this show, one thing in your life that you would go back and do differently doesn't have to be a major thing. There could be like a couple of really minor funny things. What's something you would do differently?
Well, this is probably going to get a little deep, and it isn't funny, and it's not going to be quick.
Uh-huh.
But one of the things I would go do is my biological father was killed in a snowmobiling accident when I was 13.
Right.
I never met him. I never got a chance to know that side of the family. Shortly, a few years after he had died, his mom, my grandma, reached out to me, and I never responded. I never felt really comfortable reaching out, and I never did before she passed. So this is kind of a twofer. One would be to go back and reach out to her. And two, I have two half-sisters by this guy. And they reached out via Facebook about 12 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, Facebook changed their whole messaging policy, and when I finally logged back into my account that I had stopped using years ago, those messages were no longer available. So I no longer have an ability to contact these people either.
You don't even know their name?
I wish I would have been better about that and would have written it down. I did not. At the time, I was a little taken aback. It was kind of weird. I wasn't in a good place when it came to my financial situation, my job, other things like that. And they live in like Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I could have made connections via Facebook, and I always kind of did this thing, well, I'll have time. I can do it. I can always log back in. The message will be there. I can reach out. And then by the time I finally did it a few years back, it was no longer there.
Interesting.
Yep.
Your deceased father did have an obituary, right?
Yes.
And it's probably on the internet still, right?
What you can find is not so much the obituary as there is an article about drinking and snowmobiling and the problem in northern Wisconsin of bar hopping and going from bar to bar and bar and all this kind of stuff. And they basically reference my dad's accident. He was basically riding passenger on a snowmobile. They were both been drinking, were either going home or to another bar, got airborne, flew into a tree. The other guy survived. My dad died. So,
what was your dad's name?
William Miraglia. I can spell it for you.
What the fuck did you just say?
Yep.
That sounds like a type of cancer you get in your balls. That's like Italian, isn't it?
Yes.
Because my idea was we go online and find the obit, and then it names the sisters, and then there's your jump-off point.
And that's the problem, is I don't remember the sisters having the same last name anymore. Like, I think they both married and took their spousal names, so I don't know, like, if I can still search them. But you're right, by way of that obit, it should be survived by so-and-so, so-and-so, but I don't know if they always give those full names. Like, they just might say survived by daughters.
You don't remember their first names? Son of a bitch.
What was interesting is the older one reached out one time, and that was kind of it. Where the younger one reached out, I saw pictures of her profile on Facebook at the time, and you could tell we were related. We have the exact same color eyes and same shape of eyes, and kind of the way my eyes slant down a little bit. Exactly the same.
I was really hoping that my simple Google detective skills could put us on the path to reconnection with your sisters. And then I could see pictures of your sisters, and I could compare those sisters to your other sister that I know.
Yeah, and just see,
you know,
how much of a connection I am in the middle between the siblings.
Well, I was actually jokingly and disrespectfully going to say play a game of Fuck, Marry, Kill, but yeah, because there's 3 of them. But I mean, that too, what you said.
Yes, we could do that as B, right? No, yeah. And what's funny is you're Googling detective skills. I love it. You Googled, you looked at the top few results, and then that was it. Like, nobody goes beyond the first page whenever they Google.
Well, if I see the same name in the first 7 results, I know that it's not going to pull it right away.
Yeah.
And I just did his name with obituary. Then I added Wisconsin, and we got the article you talked about.
Yeah.
But one way that I find shit about people is to give away my secrets. Besides the Minnesota State Court website, Minnesota Marriage Records.
Oh, sure.
Because you punch in a name, and as long as there's not too many results that are too close and wishy-washy, you can figure out, yeah, that was the right person. Oh, and that's their name now. And then you find them on Facebook. That's my basic private eye skills that I developed by manipulating public databases. And not after anybody on a TV show anywhere showed me that. I just figured that shit out.
Oh, yeah. Stumble across it on your own.
I'd go back to 3rd grade, the day that my friend shit his pants in art class, and I'd try to be a better supportive friend.
Yeah.
Instead of just making fun of him for getting diarrhea in his bright blue sweatpants because the teacher would let him go to the bathroom.
Aw.
Good. Fucking A. I'd go back in time and I'd tell myself, hey, stop masturbating so much because your dad thinks it's funny to not knock before he comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And just that pulling your hand out of your pants quick thing is pretty fucking obvious. I'd go back to the night that I shit my pants after that Timberwolves game when I was 24.
Oh.
And I would, instead of just telling my friend to drive to my parents' house, I'd say, go down the block to that Holiday station. I'm going to poop there. The one off of 85th by the Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Yep. The one that always has people shooting up in the bathroom now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'd go get diarrhea there instead of in my pants.
Sure.
Yeah, that's one. I mean, I guess there was one day I was driving by my grandma's place right before she died when the juice was a baby. I'm like, I should bring the juice to see her again because she'd only met her the one time.
Oh, sure.
That's how we ended up with that 4-generation photo at my mom's house.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that's a nice one I do. But otherwise, I really, I'd go back to, I think it was 5th or 6th grade. Whatever year Jurassic Park came out, was it 92, 93?
Or 91 even.
Okay, so that year they had the novelization of Jurassic Park, and the same kid that shit his pants stole that from the book fair because other kids were stealing from the school book fair. And I thought I would be cool and try to steal from the book fair. Okay. And then I got caught.
Oh.
Not by the people in the book fair, but I got out of the room with the stuff in my pants. I slid it down my shorts. I didn't just take it out from there and walk with it. I tried to walk with it. It was still in my shorts. And then another class came by and the teacher saw something coming out of my shorts. She's like, what's going on there? And then I totally fucking told her what was up. I should have been like, I really love literature and I like the way that books feel on my junk. Sorry. Yeah.
I couldn't carry it. My hands were full. That's the only place I had to carry it.
Yeah, I'd either pull the books out or maybe just not steal. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I definitely would take my video camera and record my mom flipping out more so I could go back and fucking play the audio for the internet now.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, nothing about anything meaningful.
Yeah, right. Just for the joy
Maybe
factor.
for my grandma, but it's funnier if I go back in time and relive the first time Neil walked in on me getting a blowjob. Not you, Neil, other
right,
Neil.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was funny. Or I guess there was the first girl that I ever loved that I thought I was going to get to fuck her, but I didn't know enough to get her pussy wet. So I just tried to stick it in, and it wouldn't go. But she was also very petite, so it would have required a lot of lubrication. And I would have lost my virginity to her, not the whore that I did, who we referred to as SS the SS. Me and Neil.
Okay. Something the super slut?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The first S is psycho, misspelled.
Okay.
Because PS the SS doesn't roll off the tongue the fucking same way.
I get you, yeah. I was going to say the phonetic spelling. Yeah.
Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It? That is at What Do We Call It? You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It podcast show. For the What Do We Call It podcast, I'm Jmann.
This is Steiny.
And that's the end.